Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make some Halloween solar light stakes using Dollar Tree products and some ways you can modify them to make them your own. For each stake, you will need these Dollar Tree short plastic Halloween lawn stakes. These come in a pack of 2 and in a bat or a spider design. You will also need these Dollar Tree broom handles with the plastic hanging piece removed and some zip ties. I'm using the spider design today. I start by removing the plastic chains from the lawn stakes and I will set them aside. I then cut the spider design element off of the stake piece. I found that the heavy-duty kitchen shears cut through these pretty easily. I saved the bottom pieces because I plan to use them in another version of this solar stake later. I line the spider decoration up to the broom handle with the open end of the broom handle on top. Notice that I'm lining the pointy top of the stake up with the top of the handle and not above it. This is so I can place the solar light in the top later. I then take 2 zip ties and secure the spider decoration to the broom handle on the bottom and close to the top. I like to take my pliers to pull the ends of the zip ties to make sure that they're on tight. You'll see me do this later in the video. Once the zip ties are on and the decoration is secure, use wire cutters or scissors to snip off the ends of the zip ties. I then take my stakes and I spray the decoration and handle with a uniform black paint. This Rust-Oleum semi-gloss worked well for me. This is totally optional, but I had this hammered looking metal spray paint, so I decided to add a layer of this to the stakes to give them a little bit of a metallic look. The only downside is that it kind of draws attention to the spot where the pieces are attached, where it doesn't show as much with just the black paint. So here's what they look like outside. The bottom of these broom handles has a little nub that screws into a broom head, so I just kind of screwed them into the ground. I've also seen people attach the broom handles to Dollar Tree pots and fill them with rocks, so you could do that if you prefer. Here I am placing some solar lights that I bought from Dollar Tree into the tops, and you can see how they fit perfectly. And those lights were old and didn't really work anymore, rip. So here you can see that I placed some new fancy solar lights in that also fit perfectly. Here they are at dusk, looking fresh. And here I show you what they look like with a fresh Halloween solar light from Dollar Tree added. Still cool, if you ask me. But what if you want your own skull solar lights on a budget? Well, don't you fret because I've got you covered. For this version, you will need a plastic skull from Dollar Tree and one of their regular solar lights. And just like the last project, a bat or spider lawn stake, broom handle, and zip ties. I place the solar light on the top of the skull and trace out the approximate size using a washable marker. I then use my hot knife to cut out the hole. You will want to cut the hole smaller at first and then try to fit the light in. You can always go back after and cut more or clean up the edges. If you cut the hole too big, the light will just kind of fall in and you might not be able to get it back out. Once you have the hole to the correct size, make sure the light fits. Do not push it too far in though, because again, if it falls in, you probably won't be able to get it back out. I test the light to see how it looks and then remove the light for the next steps. I wanted to remove some of the paint on the skull to let more of the light shine through, so I used some acetone nail polish remover that I got from Dollar Tree and removed the paint from the face and the sides of the skull, but I leave the eyes, nose, and in between the teeth black. I then place the solar light back into the skull, being careful not to push it all the way through. When I am happy with the placement, I use my hot glue gun to start gluing it into place. If there were any gaps, I make sure to fill them in and make sure the light feels secure. Once the glue is dried, I turn the skull over and place the solar light flat down on the table. This is to make sure that the solar light will be facing straight up when I add the pole piece. I then use the washable marker to trace around the little nub screw inside of the broom handle on the bottom of the skull. The bottom of the skull has a bit of a weird angle, so keep that in mind when tracing. I want the pole to fit in the skull so that the skull faces forward and not looking up at the sky. When I am satisfied that my tracing somewhat matches the size of the broom handle, I cut out a hole in the bottom of the skull using my heat knife. I cut along the inside of the line because I don't want the hole too big and for the handle to go into the skull without any structure around the sides to support it. I then shove that little nub end of the broom handle right up into the skull. When I feel like it's secure and looking the right way, I use hot glue around the edges to reinforce it. I then repeat the steps we did in the last project of cutting down the stakes and attaching it to the broom handle with zip ties. You can see me using the pliers to tighten the zip ties to make sure that the spider is attached securely. I add a little more hot glue just to make sure that the skull isn't going anywhere. Also, off camera, I cover the skull part with a plastic grocery bag and tie it around the bottom of the skull to protect it. Then I spray paint the broom handle and spider decoration with the same semi-gloss black paint from the previous project. Remember those pieces we removed from the yard stakes? Well, 2 of them fit nicely into the open end of the broom handle to create a point at the bottom. You will likely want to glue these together and glue them inside the broom handle if you plan on sticking them into the hard ground. And there you have it, your very own raised skull solar yard stake. Very spooky. Here he is at night. He lights up mostly behind the eyes, but you can definitely see that it's a skull. If you like the idea of this project but don't want to fuss around with the solar lights, be sure to check out my next video where I will show you more ways to use these materials to enhance your yard decorations this year. A big thanks to everyone who watched this video, and please let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions, ideas, or tips. If you like this video, please let me know by hitting the like button and subscribe if you want to see more DIYs. Thanks again for watching!